So we are doing a Tuesday night tonight because you've got stuff going on at your house. How are you, Janine?
Good. I'm good. I'm good. Yep.
What's happening in your neck of the woods? What are you seeing?
Well, my cat's really disappointing me.
I wasn't expecting that. Why?
Betty, she's been such a bad girl. I mean, she thinks she's being a really good cat.
Mm.
And she's doing what cats, really good, intelligent cats do, and catching too many birds.
Mm.
And that is going to get her in some big trouble because I try to rescue them. She brings them in the house and I chase her away and get the bird. It's a lot of work. It happened for the third time since we moved in here. So clearly it's a great bird neighborhood, but I'm sure all the birds are super mad at me for bringing this bad news into the neighborhood. And I'm sure the neighbors hopefully don't start ganging up on Betty because, she's also a fantastic mouser, but it's like birds are obviously far more plentiful in the neighborhood. This is why cats get into trouble. You know what I mean?
It is. Unfortunately, it is. And we are all experts. My children are the best mouse catchers, voles, birds, everything, because we rescue everything and then we treat them with the red light and essential oils. And we've had many a little hospital room, but actually a lot of them make it. And then I'm normally seen at weird hours of day and night running down with some poor little animal in my dressing gown, trying to send it somewhere where they're not going to be caught again. And I'm surprised I'm not in a loony bin, actually.
That's actually what I was doing early this morning.
Yeah, it is hysterical. You're just hoping, you're praying someone's not going to drive along or walk along, but I always get seen.
God.
Oh, naughty Betty. We'll have to have a word with Betty. Yeah. So well, here I'm sort of grinning innately through going slowly mad because I'm trying to think of some positive things to say about what's happening in the UK. So the positive things to say, my guinea pigs are still as gorgeous as ever. And that's about it.
That's it. That's all you got.
And it's going to go downhill from there, but we'll try and keep it upbeat and mix it up today. So one of the first things I wanted to ask is, can we ask the cards what is happening in Germany? Have you seen about the German elections?
No.
So I saw on the news about the German elections, and I'm sure the Germans will correct me if I get some details right, but Angela Merkel, her constituency seat has gone to a 27-year-old new lady. So the first question I wanted to ask the cards is the lady who's taken, so this I think is in the Constitution, so the first round, is this new 27-year-old lady who's taken Angela Merkel's constitutional seat, is she a white hat or a black hat? Because a lot of them seem to belong to the Green Party, and we know they're related to the global warming nutters. So I can't be polite about them anymore.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. She looks like she's been definitely on the bad side and started out her career on the bad side, or who knows, maybe even her whole life. We don't know what family background she's from, but she's on the dark side with those two cards, I'd say. And this was in the past. So there's a lot of, there could have been a lot of shenanigans even to get her in there. I wonder if they got big shenanigans going on, because that's an interesting kind of this guy's kind of stealing victory here. Okay, and then it appears everybody's all happy. I wonder if a lot of people have bought into happy that she's the replacement, even though I think she's really compromised.
Yeah.
But interesting, she might be replaced with an actor soon, because I feel like she might be rounded up or going somewhere or not going to be there for real long, or something to do with she's facing judgment of some kind suddenly. And then they're going to have a new creative person. In other words, likely a plant of something like
brilliant.
Not really her, parading around as her, or they're using, you know, CGI, or we don't know exactly what they do.
No, I know. I think, well, I'm hoping we're going to find out. Isn't that interesting? So real shenanigans, because the other thing I saw was that it's the first time apparently ever that two men who are now identifying as women, one of them's incredibly beautiful. Perhaps I should stop. Perhaps I'd look better as a man. I might do that next week and see what you think, Janine. See if it suits me. But yeah, so the first time that they're hailing it success for transgenders and things, because two of the Green Party candidates were men but now are women, have been voted in for the first time. And when one of them, I saw them and I was like, you are kidding, that's a man? She's beautiful. It's happening so much, isn't it? So weird things happening in Germany. Could we ask a general question about that, Janine, in terms of, is it going in the right direction in Germany with all this?
So according to my cards, there's a whole bunch of things going on under the surface that have to do with justice, people being brought to justice. There's a lot of people that were originally maybe in the government that are now under some kind of lock and key, let's say, and in hiding. And they're facing justice, and things are going to get a lot better there in the next, you know, months.
Fantastic.
Let's hope weeks. That could be months. But yes, things are getting better. And even though it looks a little precarious with all of this, you know, when you know, like, because Canadian election was absolutely interesting. Clearly something up, but I didn't get a gut punch from it because I knew it's not going to last long. And that's what I'm getting from this. This is a whole bunch of posturing and setting something up. They're setting a stage for something.
Yeah. Fantastic. So let us know, anyone from Germany, let us know in the comments below what you're seeing and what you all think about it. So the next question is, in the UK, it's starting to come out. Now, I did mention this a little while ago. I think it's really important to mention it again, perhaps with a different twist, that they're going to start introducing fluorine into our drinking water for dental health. You have to laugh because everyone knows it's nothing to do with dental health. Everyone knows calcifies your pineal gland and kills you. So can we ask the cards, why on earth is this happening now? And can they please?
It's like they just stepped back like 20 years, like, because we already figured out it was bad for you.
Well, it gets Janine, it gets worse. I mean, you couldn't, that's why I'm sort of laughing in a demented fashion today, because not only that, but in the same article as them introducing fluorine for our dental health, they're also saying that they're going to be using graphene as a water purifier.
They're not actually going to.
Oh,
okay.
God.
They're not actually going to. This all gets cleared up. Oh. So that sounds like some gut punch fake news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they're trying to shock people. Every time I look at news, it's so shocking. You're like, that can't be real. They're trying to get that response from more people. And I think it's happening. Like, I think it's working. I think it's slowly working. They are working it.
I'm so pleased you're confident, because I was on with Jean-Claude last night and we're just not seeing new people waking up or anything. It's just really sort of horrifying. So all this stuff, none of it's on the mainstream news. It's all, you've got to dig to find it. And when you start digging, you're horrified, which leads me on to my next question. So as they've been distracting us poor little Brits, seriously, don't worry everyone, it's not all about UK. But so you've all heard, and we've all had a bit of a laugh or not about the fuel shortages we've had over here, of course, completely manipulated. But whilst they've been distracting us with that, and you've picked out all along, haven't you, about the distraction, the UK government have gone out to tender about so we had an announcement. I'll be careful how I say this. A few weeks ago we were talking about an announcement that they weren't going to bring in the paperwork that we all had to show that we'd had that. Well, in the quiet, Parliament, the government have put out a tender for people to introduce that, basically. So they're calling it the Plan B contingency, so that if all their current measures to stop the spread don't work, then they'll be forced to bring this in. And tenders are due back by the beginning of November, or I think the early part of October. So it's pretty horrendous. But of course, no one knows that this is happening. So this is what's so underhand, is they're putting this all out, saying on the news that it's not going to happen, and then behind the scenes, this is happening. So why is that happening still, Janine? Why is this all going on behind the scenes? Because it can't be to wake people up, because you wouldn't see this on the media.
It's definitely the last stabbing on the way out the door of these guys.
Okay, so that makes sense.
This card and this card. So they're trying to hurt. This was the plan. So the plan was that they were going to do all of these things. Now they're just showing all of their hand because they're being allowed to also, by the way, because I think the white hats definitely have control, because this is in the past. So this already happened. So that's already, this is a pause to, there's healing in the background, and there's things going on in the background. We have a facade situation. So I asked around those laws and rules and those things, all of it looks false to me. It all looks like there's ways to step it back, and they're going to step it back exactly when the time's right. They're waiting. I don't know what for exactly. But I can't get what they're waiting for. But it's to, so you'll hear that, people do hear that, and it will wake up some people. I know you're feeling like it isn't, but I think there's a bunch of people it's just getting
brilliant
so much they can't avoid knowing something. The ones we knew were intuitive, that have been repressing their intuition and going like this, no, and they're finally going to snap. I can just feel what they're doing.
That's such a good point you've raised there, as always. Do you think we could ask the cards whether a lot of the youngsters, so by youngsters, everyone's a youngster to me these days, but sort of the under 30s sort of thing, so the teenagers, the young adults, etc., do you think we're going to see a mass awakening of them soon, because they're being hit really hard with these restrictions?
I'm thinking that you'll already see it if you go on their own platforms. So look on Instagram, what they're sharing, and look on TikTok, because we know they share on TikTok a lot. Some of the best videos I've seen are from youngsters on TikTok, by the way, really, really evolved little digital soldiers out there, but it's being repressed. So a lot of their stuff's being shadow banned, repressed, not shown, they're keeping it under wraps how awake a lot of these people are, and I know a lot of them aren't as well, but I think we got about a half and half here. So they're so close to just having had enough, and then they get really creative. They'll be really creative with how they bring it all forward too, because we know they're really digitally really smart. They're really smart online. They're really smart. They're like some of these TikTok videos I'm watching are brilliant, like literally mind-bogglingly brilliant. So I think it's being repressed. You're not knowing how much of them are waking up, actually, because they don't want you to know that just yet.
That's brilliant, because over the last month, I know you're the same. All the awake parents are all suffering from the fact that their children are now making decisions that they're very upset about. And I wonder whether that's the classic, it's been like this, nothing to do with what's going on. You always do what your parents don't want you to do sort of scenario.
Yeah.
Because it's weird how a lot of the really awake parents are having that trauma at the moment.
Yeah.
But hopefully if enough of their friends who haven't got tin hat wearing parents bring it, because that's the best way, isn't it, when they hear it from someone else that's not their parent?
Yeah,
that's going to be
true.
so much
Yeah.
more powerful, isn't it? Okay, so I saw a really weird thing today, yesterday. Richard Gere, from An Officer and a Gentleman, so the Hollywood actor, so he's been getting involved with one of Italy's political leaders about apparently Italy's Salvini, the political leader from Italy, turned away a whole boat full of asylum seekers, and Richard Gere stepped in, and so it's been on all the news and everything. Now, we know that a lot of the time when these celebrities get in, you know, do good deeds, it's not all it seems to be. Can we ask whether Richard Gere is a white hat or a black hat, please? Is he actually doing good, or is it a show?
Okay, so he's been really bad. He's on the fence, and he knows that he'll be facing justice. Justice is around him. That's in his atmosphere. And I think he's fighting to step back. I think he thinks doing some good out in the world before he gets rounded up. He's trying to look like a better person. This was underneath his card. So he's a false, he shows himself one way, but he's totally different.
Right.
That's badly aspecting that. King of Cups can be a great healer, shaman, and really, really wise, emotional man, but not if he's badly aspected, and all of the cards around it were badly aspecting him. So now he's completely devious and not who he appears, and he's sitting on the fence because he's trying to save his butt.
That really resonates, because when I saw the pictures, they look really insevere to me. They look like a really bad actor. Oh, that means I can't watch An Officer and a Gentleman again now. I'm going to have to scrap that as one of my favorite films. Oh,
I always thought he was a really bad actor.
Yeah.
Like, he was good looking, and that was about all he had going for him on the screen. He literally didn't do an ounce of acting. If you watch that thing again, just watch.
Completely.
It's just a series of bland expressions on his face, pretty boyness. It's like maybe he's not even a boy. We don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. Mind you, it wasn't his. Mind you, well, shall I ask this question next? Whilst we're on the subject, then, and you're gonna, if you shatter my illusions, I think I just might cry. So, can we ask about Daniel Craig?
Daniel Craig. What are we asking about him? If he's a good guy,
if he's a goodie or a baddie, because obviously he's got to be James Bond, but he has got muscles to die for. Oh, I've considered.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that the fellow I had my daughter with in his youth looked just like that guy and had the very same energy and the very same blue eyes. Just saying.
Wow. Oh, wow. You're making me jealous now. I have got a confession to make in a minute, but I might not be able to make it, depending what the cards say.
Okay, so he knows of the dark side, and he, a long time ago, it looks like, chose not to go into the deep depths of the dark. So he did something right back here, and is very disappointed in. Even he didn't know how bad it was, but he knew of it, obviously, because he's even disappointed in himself for being at some of these parties. You know what I mean? He's probably been at some of the parties where they do gross things. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like he's literally wanting to come into a better balance with himself and looking for forgiveness and coming. Yeah. So I don't think he's gone all the way over to having literally done those horrible things, but he's been around people that have maybe even seen it.
Oh.
So, but he's seen some bad things with that card there, and he's disappointed even in himself, maybe for not speaking up or whatever. But he's trying to balance that out and balance out his personality. And
Okay. Well, I will just tell him now if he'd like to come and sit on my knee and confess, then I'm open to that suggestion. But yeah, so, oh, well, that's okay. It could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? That could have been a lot worse. So I will go, and so I am allowed to go and see the new James Bond film then. That's really, oh, thank goodness. That was really asking that. We have to have a laugh, people. I know it's very superficial, but we do have to have a laugh at
Oh,
these.
yeah, for sure.
So many questions. Okay, so in the news this week, the US singer R. Kelly has been found guilty at long last of basically sexually abusing women and children for over 2 decades. Now, of course, he's got off with it in the past. So can we ask whether the fact that he's now publicly been found guilty, is something big going to come of this? Perhaps is he going to spill the beans or anything? What can the cards tell us about the significance of this?
Wasn't there also the word trafficking in his
yes, in one of the things? So I'm just trying to think. So it said, describe sexual humiliation and violence facing. It definitely mentioned the word trafficking. It definitely mentioned children. So several of the victims were children, it says, and one of the ones that he married when he was 15 then died in an airplane crash, apparently. So it's really tragic, and it's tragic that they've known about this for so long, and of course he was allowed to get away with it. But it did strike me, the words that they were so open about it, that perhaps something big exposure might come of this or something.
Well, it's definitely about exposing. It's definitely about exposing, because that's the good guy army and the ace. So it was put out by the white hats, and they are trying to prepare you. This guy was rounded up a long time ago.
Yeah.
So this is just old news regurgitated and finally come, like there's so much of that going on. Stuff that was put into motion years ago, finally coming to fruition and even coming out, but was actually literally dealt with a couple of years back. This is very weird, but the timeline is so weird what's happening now. All this stuff's coming out that's actually already long gone happened.
So, because I've noticed that Britney Spears has been in the news again this week, and about her father's been caught that he was bugging her room and bugging conversations with her boyfriend and her children. So the question I had about that, which relates also to the Richard Gere and the R. Kelly, because they're all sort of celebrities, very famous celebrities, is this a distraction? So a bit like in the UK, we've had the fuel crisis and distracting all these other underhand things that are going on in the background, because they've already started boostering people over here. They've started the children. And now we know that underhand, they're looking at bringing in the paperwork to get you in anywhere. So these celebrities, the Britney Spears, the Richard Gere, the R. Kelly, is it something really good's going to come of that, or is it all a big distraction to stop us looking elsewhere?
Oh, it's definitely to hold up you looking somewhere else, because this card wants to hold something up and that card wants to hide something. And then this card's like the 5 of Swords. So somebody wants to win. Some of this is black hat op that's been allowed to continue, because eventually they're going to sting those guys and point out just what they've been up to and let everybody. I know it sounds crazy, but apparently if you read The Art of War, the moves are all in there, and they're definitely doing these moves. So they're doing these counter moves to those guys as counter moves. And it seems like the white hats are one step ahead every time I look at it in the card. So that's good news. But it's also, they're showing you exactly what the black hats are all about. And that's really hard to watch. And a lot of people are, but a lot of the things, by the way, that all the things they're throwing at you are going to be undone, especially if they're political, because the political parties are literally illegal at this point and operating illegally. That's what I get anyway. Also, the money system's illegal, certainly in the US. The Fed's going to apparently go down any minute, and probably already has. A lot of banks, by the way, in the North America are closing for the first time for some interesting day called Reconciliation Day.
When's
right?
that?
So totally weird. Okay, so they never cared about Indigenous people before, all of a sudden. And now the banks are all closing across Canada for sure. And some, maybe some in the US, I'm not sure. But Canadians have this Reconciliation Day, which nobody ever even paid, by the way, any attention to. Okay, until all of a sudden the banks are all closing, and it's on September 30th. Apparently, the Fed goes officially down and completely is because there's some big situation where they have to show, I don't know what, their books or something, and it'll become really obvious to everybody in the world that they're completely bankrupt. All the truthers already knew that a long time ago. You know what I mean? So there's all of these weird things going on, and I feel like it's so obvious to me that the good guys are in charge and winning, but a lot of people don't see that. I get it. I get it. But if you're paying attention, I'm telling you. Okay, so but they're letting these other guys do their worst here. They're just letting them wreak some havoc. Okay, but a lot of the stuff they're doing, they've dismantled in the background. Honestly, when you talk about those boosters and what's happening, I just don't get they're lethal like everybody thinks they are. I know people are getting hurt. There's booby trap batches, but it is literally a minuscule amount compared to how many. And so I'm not trying to say, get it done. No, absolutely. You don't want to play Russian roulette. I would never agree to that anyway, because it's against your human rights to be forced into something you don't want to do, especially if it's experimental. And it's all just a big ploy to, and originally the idea was to, dismantle the human race. And that's a nice way to put it. But I never get those alarm bell gut punches around it that other people are. And when people send me dreary news about how many people are going to leave, I just never intuitively get that. So until my cards and my intuition tell me, and that's what I've been like my whole life. But don't listen to me. Like, feel your own intuition about it. I'm not anybody's guru, and I'm not trying to say I know everything, because I absolutely don't. But I'm just not worrying about it myself as much as most people are. I see the destructive bad guys and what they've been up to, but I also feel really calm, like something in the background's working on our behalf. And whether it's the white hats in the alliance, they're part of it for sure, but they're not saviors or anything. But there's the spirit world loves and protects us. And I don't know exactly what that entails anymore, but I'm absolutely connecting with it. And I feel really loved and cherished by the spirit world. So that'll help if you're really fearful right now.
It's really interesting. It came up again in Jean-Claude and my chat yesterday, but I was saying that I've noticed over the last month a massive shift in the animal kingdom, both wild animals and human animals. Obviously, really? Not the birds near you, but they're stressed. But in terms of the animals are really calm, really happy, really thriving and everything, as if the whole energy of something has really shifted. Which for me is a definite positive, and I really have noticed that across the board. So that's just absolutely fantastic. So the next question from one of my friends, I'll have to take the swear words out of it, but is October in general, because this applies to all of us, is October going to be an improvement from the heap of bleep that September has been? Because it's been a terrible month, hasn't it, for a lot of people?
That's for sure. Okay. You just gave me a great idea for tomorrow's Tarot by Janine video. I'll have to do a big deep dive into October.
Yes, please. Please, we would love you. Everyone's saying yes, 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 please. A big dive into October.
Okay, so we've got the Knight of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups. Surrender. Okay, there's going to be some more false flying information that'll be very stressful. So gut punches and scary things, absolutely. And you'll have to surrender to going through more gut punches, I'm afraid. But the good, interesting thing is this card was first clarifying everything. So it's saying a lot of it won't be true. Yeah. This person wakes up in the middle of the night and worries about things that aren't actually going to happen. And this card tells me that most of them are false and that flappy thing, because this guy is totally deviously hiding something under his cloak, and badly aspected with these two cards on either side. So it's saying a lot of the things you're going to think are true, especially the devious things, are not what it is, not what it presents. So it's just more crescendo, it looks like, unfortunately. Okay, and let's see by the time we get to the end of it here. Yeah, it's there's going to be some difficult moments, especially around finance. A lot of people, that's probably what we're talking about there. Because when people get really scared, it's when they think all of their money's going to be gone, or it's not worth anything anymore, or whatever. There's going to be, but by the end of October, you see a really big turnaround. Thank goodness, because yeah. So there's definitely going to be some setbacks, more setbacks in October. It's not just a breeze, and it doesn't just all flip around. The beginning and middle looks like more of the same, actually, of September. Sorry, but try to have a sense of humor, because by the time we're done October, I feel like a huge breakthrough with this card here. It's a wonderful card, and you come out of it safe. So does your money, by the way. I never get people are going to lose their shirts. And things are going to get eventually way better, by the way. So we're going to just have to, support each other through this, and be kind and have a good sense of humor. Listen to music, love, smudge, have some salt baths, and watch your animals.
I was just thinking, if we all dressed up as hedgehogs and hibernated for a couple of months, it might be quite a good idea. So next time you see me, I'll either be a man or a hedgehog we've got so far. So yeah. Well, the next question I got through in an email just before we came on, because obviously we're a day early. So there's a lot of people at the start when they were talking about Jasara and Nasara, there was a lot of talks about the Zims and the Dongs being redeemed for humanitarian projects. So there's loads of people in the sort of truther movement that have got plans for humanitarian projects that they want to run, and they were all sort of led to believe that there'd be a revaluation of certain currencies like the Zims that would fund these. Now, is that actually a reality? Is that going to happen?
I'll look at the Zims first.
Yeah.
Because I know they're kind of unique.
Yes.
They are like a bond or whatever. It's interesting because it looks like legally they have been reevaluated, and it's been held back or repressed, or somebody's keeping it hidden, or the powers that be are trying to keep it hidden. But I don't think they'll be able to much longer, because that's a truth. So the truth comes out, and these two cards are the follow-ups, this is great abundance, and this is celebration and victory. So yeah, they will, but for some reason it's the last holdout of the bad guys, and every time I look at this, they absolutely don't want that to happen. That's the thing they're pushing the most to stop. But it's already been legally, there's some legal, because this was the background, there's already been a legal declaration of an amount even, or something, or it's already been done. And it's a matter of it getting out there, and then people getting their hands on the reevaluated, coinage or whatever, or the amounts, or I don't know how I don't know exactly how that works, but is there another one? Do you want to look at that? There's also the Vietnamese. Monies. That's another one. Look at that.
Whilst you were saying that, just something really came to me whilst you were shuffling. Of course, when we were talking about the nefarious contracts of the prisons or concentration camps and the passport schemes and things like that, of course, if all the governments are bankrupt, they're not going to be able to pay any of the contractors that are doing all this stuff for them. Even if they put them in place, once they're not getting paid for anything, then hopefully they'll just down tools.
We've been getting that for a long time, that they're not able to pay, and that's why a lot of their stuff's falling flat, but they're still pumping out the fear of it, and they still had the plan. So there's still remnants of the plan going into action. And there's even some renegade, morons that bought into it. Even if they're not getting paid, they're still doing their job, because they're obviously criminal minds anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 5 and the 9. 5 and the 9 and 5. So this one, again, there's holdups. So this is held up. And so, but 5s are good. They're not major arcana holdups. They're temporary setbacks and holdups. Again, because they're deeply not wanting this to happen. So it's held up also within the country. So that would be Vietnam itself. Yeah. Something going on in the country itself that feels like it's holding things up. So there could be infighting there, because this card was in the middle. So that can even be infighting. So somebody even in the government and or somehow has their finger on the pulse of that, there's some fighting between that bunch. So yeah, that feels like that could even be held up longer than the Zim.
Yeah. Okay. But good news in the end. Okay. So guys, don't stop your dreams about all these amazing things that you want to do. It's really important that because with all the changes coming, everything's going to change. So that's fantastic. So the next question, which I know is so important for so many people, I think it links back into a lot of the parents are asking this, because this is what a lot of the younger people are using as their excuse to make a decision that they might regret. By the end of this year, 2021, will people be able to travel into different countries, etc., without these ridiculous requirements and restrictions? Because in the UK, for example, we haven't, since the start of all this, people from the UK and Europe haven't been able to fly into America unless that you've got a specific visa or you've been invited over for business or a student visa or something. And now they're saying as of November, you've got to be double to do it.
Okay, so this card is moving out of troubled waters. So that all gets moved out of troubled waters. And it's already been put into motion. There's a whole bunch of things in the background. It's a strategy. So them even saying that is a verbal, mental thought strategy. All of these governments know it's illegal and it's against everybody. If anyone looked into their human rights in their country, they'll find a way to fight that. Okay, so it's absolutely illegal what they're doing and absolutely against human rights and is based on nothing, because the thing itself wasn't even ever isolated. And there's so many ways that it could be taken down. It's the fear and people going along with it that's actually keeping it even alive. It's literally, if you never turned on your television, you wouldn't even know anything was amiss other than how ridiculous people are behaving.
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't at all. You would not at all.
Yeah, so it's already, there's already a way that it's slowly, it never stood a chance anyway. That's dying a slow, painful death, only because people are still buying into it and not seeing the truth. So it's mentally only there. It only exists mentally. It doesn't actually, when you read the small print of a lot of these things, like somebody sent me something from Alberta, that when you read the small print, it clearly says the government isn't mandating you have to get into different businesses, you have to show your but they're suggesting that the businesses do it. They're dumping it all on the business's lap because they don't want to be sued.
And they are, yeah.
They know what's coming.
Exactly. And this is what is so ironic, because that, like, the universities are enforcing things over and above the government restrictions, and it's just unbelievable how they've managed to so psychologically convince these people to do that, or they've been paid, one or two, both of them probably.
Yeah, paid a long time ago by these guys, so they're just working out the plan. Okay, so if we followed the money and look into education, top education people, top medical people, all of them got paid out probably years ago, apparently, for going along with this. And they all knew about it. So they will absolutely be the ones going down. Absolutely.
absolutely.
Find out who they are in your community and keep an eye on them.
Yeah, completely. We certainly are. Now, can we ask whether Nigel Farage is a white hat? He's a UK politician. Because this has come up. Now, I don't know what he's been up to, because a lot of people have asked this. I have no idea why. I think it's quite controversial.
Well, he's actually independent. So he wouldn't, maybe if you asked him, I don't think he'd call himself that. He thinks independently. So he's actually literally just who he is.
Wow, brilliant.
And he's a very unique person.
Yeah.
Good things about him and some, maybe things you wouldn't agree with, but yeah, he's very unique. And he sort of got himself in the movie, maybe against his own wishes. It wasn't his intention maybe to, but he finds himself sitting in the big movie. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't think he's entirely good or entirely bad with these two cards. He's got some good to him and some not so good to him, but he doesn't belong to any side. So he's not affiliating or associating himself with good. No. He's a gray hat. That's what Guy calls them, gray hats.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. So, okay, so there's nothing horrendous that's come up with him. So that's really, really good. Now, another interesting thing that came up that was on mainstream media, which was really interesting, was about the World Health Organization saying it's horrified by the findings of an inquiry into allegations of sexual abuse by staff working in the Democratic Republic of Congo after the Ebola outbreak. So back in 2018 to 2020, because of the supposed Ebola outbreak, which they're pretty sure was related to glyphosate poisoning, but the World Health Organization was supposedly open there helping out, and as usual all these horrific things about rape and everything have come out. But what's interesting is it's been on mainstream media about that. So again, is this going to be something significant, the start of their downfall?
Yep, this is a way to out these guys and to out that groups like that utilize the very alarms around the world that happen or disasters on purpose to, and then part of their pay might be to get to wreak havoc in those places, because they might be just criminal minded people that they they could be MK altered and like not functioning like regular humans, because what regular human would do that?
I know, absolutely horrific.
Especially in groups, it sounds like, and horrifying. It's like, are you kidding me? Those are not humans anymore. They don't get to call themselves humans. They have not earned the right to be humans. They can be right with the draconians there, and maybe even some of them are, right? We don't know how many of these aren't humans. So they're sending these entities in places just to get to wreak havoc. It's absurd.
Absolutely.
It's a way to call them out. They're trying to show you there's a lot of really unbelievable stuff going on in the world. And how else are the Alliance going to show you?
Yeah, absolutely. People have just got to see, and apology just doesn't wash it. You can't just keep apologizing and doing the same thing over and over again. It doesn't work like that, folks. Listen. So my final question for tonight, Janine, is what do the cards want us to know for the next couple of weeks?
Oh boy.
Turn into the box and hibernate.
I'm afraid. I think the crescendo is too high. I don't think hibernating is going to work. That would be like, I hate to say it, but I would be like sticking your head in the sand, and I don't think that's going to work. I would advise against it at this time. Yes. But let's see what the cards say. Okay, so yeah, everybody is feeling really vulnerable though. I mean, there's just unbelievable amounts of stuff, and half of it you got to pick through, try to figure out what's the false flappy things and what's real and what on earth is going on, right? Okay, so yeah, and then the judgment card in the past. So it's a wake up call for humanity. You better believe it. So all of humanity is being asked to wake out of their slumber. Because look at they've been sleeping. We've been sleeping, people. We can't sleep. So I don't think hibernating is going to work, sweetie. I hate to say it, but yeah, it's actually action time. And so anything you can share, anything you can talk about. I've been more vocal when I go. So like yesterday, Cash and I wanted to just get a coffee to go and a coffee shop, because we know that they don't, you can take things to go from places, but they said you couldn't even enter the door. There was some fool standing there who they'd hired who would or be okay with that. You have to show your papers to even go to the counter, get a coffee, go. Okay, that is unbelievable. And totally that place, it's in Inglewood, needs to go down. Okay, everybody write to them, Gravity Coffee Shop, seriously. I've been calling these guys out, Vendome's another one. Coffee shops don't need to do that here. Okay, they can sell you one to go. It's up to them if they want to. You got to show your papers. So I just loudly said why I thought that was a ridiculous idea and because in front of everybody who was sitting there who'd already shown their papers. Why would anyone do that? It's like, bend over.
Yeah.
Why are you bending? It's unbelievable.
We should all just make up, if someone can design one for me, please, which is basically I identify as a complete knob that would show my papers to you, who's an even bigger knob. And if we show them papers, do you think, because the type of person that's been hard to say yes to that, are they really going to argue with that? We could try it.
And then of course there's the ploy where, and I love this one, it's very, you got to have time though. Tell them, okay, I need to see your manager because I want to see everybody's papers. Where I'm showing you mine, you show me yours. The guy at the door, okay, probably doesn't even have them for all we know. You know how hard it is to get staff? Like, give me a break. Okay, so everybody, I happen to know people owning businesses that are doing this that don't have any of that going on. And they got staff at their doors. You know, give me a break. So everybody show me your papers before I show you mine.
Absolutely. Completely. I just, my mind went back to Daniel Craig then, but I must stop it. If I can't hibernate, I'll just watch Daniel. No, I'm very vocal, as you can imagine. I know that will be a shock for everyone. I am very vocal, which is why I haven't walked away. But I had a coffee with my lovely friend the other day, and it was fantastic because the people there were absolutely brilliant and didn't engage in any of this rubbish. It was amazing. Good. So it was fantastic, and we all avoided the plastic screens. We walked around the other way, and they just went, And
then everybody should shout out who's actually good, like you just did. Like I'll be shouting out the ones that aren't going with this and putting signs up that say everybody's welcome, and those places, they're going to turn out to be the good guys, obviously, after all of this. All the dust settles and everybody else is part of the World War II comes to mind. Though that bunch again, it's like that didn't go very good after that whole thing went down. That's what they're going to be looked upon as.
It is true, and I really, this needs to happen because we have to learn our lesson as humanity this time. We cannot keep doing this because now we can see these repeating patterns and how easy it's been to do it. And so absolutely never again. Oh, thank you so much. So everyone, get your vitamins in, eat healthily, get some sleep, get those friends around you, because now this is the final push, and we all need to be really, really well prepared for it.
And as the light gets less and less in our neck of the woods, because I know some places it's becoming summer there, but we're becoming winter. We're headed for it. We need to have lots of vitamin D every single day. Get some vitamin D in there.
Absolutely, it is here. And just as well as the food shortages that are being advertised, the fuel shortages that we haven't been able to go anywhere this week. The electricity and power companies are collapsing, and they're saying that the the cost to heat your home is going to be going up with this. So hey, it's really good news, everyone. So all cuddle together, and don't let them get away with this fear mongering, because it's just not going to work. It really is not going to work, and it's not going to force you into any of this.
A lot of it's fear mongering. It's not going to get as bad. Yes, you're going to have some inconveniences, but nothing like what I keep getting is nothing like the fear mongers are saying. So take down some notches and don't buy into the fear and feed it. But at the same time, make some precautions, whatever you can do.
Exactly.
To the best of your abilities. Okay, financially and whatever otherwise, just what's available to space. Some people don't have the space to, build up a food storage or whatever. And just do what you can and trust the universe will provide. I don't mean blind trust and just do nothing, but I mean, do what you can and then put the rest into the hands of the universe, because you're loved and cherished. And don't forget that, connect with that energy daily.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Janine. That is absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a surprise to everyone to have it going out on a Tuesday, and hopefully we will be back on a Wednesday. Good luck with all your things. We'll all have a word with your naughty little cat for you.
Yeah, I've tried the bell. I've tried, like, she could catch birds even with a great big bell around her neck. I mean, that girl is the most incredible. She's a really good cat. I mean, she does exactly what cats do, right? Yeah. And that's the thing about cats. They do that there. But I believe in the sovereignty of, that's why I don't have dogs, because I would never have an animal that I couldn't just let be themselves, whatever that is. And I just couldn't bear to keep an animal like on a chain, or I don't do that. I have such respect for animals that I've only had cats for that reason. And I always let them out, and I have taken some heat for it, but I would never change that, because I have seen cats that are indoor their whole life, and I think they're squirrely.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it's okay. And I don't care who disagrees with me. Cats love to be outside and roam.
Absolutely.
That's their character. And yeah, they get some birds. They also get a whole bunch of mice. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. My dogs have loads of freedom, and so do my horses and everything. And it's so important. You have to let, or the species be the species. And it's just so wonderful, because they've all got such unique needs and so much to offer. It's absolutely fantastic. I found loads of frogs in my stables today. They were just absolutely gorgeous. So I was running around trying to kiss them, but they got away. But they were beautiful. They're really beautiful. They're really happy out there, down there at the moment. They were like nesting in my stables. It was really lovely.
Right on.
Thank you so much. And we will speak again next week.
Okay, sweetie. Well, good luck going forward with everything.
Thank you.
Sending everyone ravens.
Yeah, everyone ravens. Bye.
Hey, pretty baby in the high heel on. You give me favor, I life never ever know. You are sure to put us up. Love last. I like the fruit up. Your walk, your talk, your dress. I feel your favor from my little crowd. You freak you. I'll be my car, and we in the town. Just kiss me, baby, and tell me try that you the one for me. The way you make me feel, the way you make me feel, you really turn me on. You really turn me on. You knock me up my feet. My lonely days are gone. Yeah. baby in the high heel on. You give me forever, I'll never ever know. You are sure the products of love life. I like the blue up. Your walk, your talk, your dress. I feel so forever from my ground. You freak you. I'll be my car and whip in the town. Just give me baby and tell me try that you the one for me. The way you make me feel, the way you make me feel, you really turn me wrong. You really turn me on. You knock me off my feet. My lonely days are gone. Yeah.